And here it is after going 13-1 last season with my predictions, only missing the Seattle Seahawks versus the 49ers game. I am back with my predictions. I'm the prediction guy now, but I don't know. We'll see. This week's going to be a little bit more confusing, a little bit more complicated, but let's go through them. First off, on Thursday Night Football tonight, the Pittsburgh Steelers play the Cleveland Browns. I think this will be a show of strength for the Steelers to show that they control that division and they are the best team in that division and arguably in the AFC. I think Pittsburgh, the only thing that they need to consistently get down packed fully is their offense. They need to make sure that their offense is complete. Najee Harris needs to run the way that he did last week, and they'll be great. I know the offense of the Browns had a great game or a good game last week against the New Orleans Saints, but I don't think Jameis Winston has over 300 yards again this week, and I think their defense really shows them why they are one of the best in the league. And so yeah, the Steelers will win this game against the Browns. Next up, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New York Giants. Giants have now benched Daniel Jones for the rest of the season. Will that lead them to the light? I don't think so. I think Tampa Bay gets back Mike Evans this weekend, and I expect them to continue to flourish. They've been good, offensively without Mike Evans. So adding him will just give them the win and hold on to secure those wins. So give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat the New York Giants. For this NFC East game, we have the Commanders versus the Cowboys. Cowboys, yes, they have lost. They haven't looked awful. They hung around a little bit against the Texans last week. Up until the fourth quarter, a little bit later in the third. But before the doors got blown off of them. But the Commanders are a very good team this year. I think they're a team that teams should definitely look out for. The Commanders this year remind me of the Packers from last season. With Jordan Love starting for his first season, they really tried to figure it out. And so I think that's what the Commanders are. They are a very defensive-heavy team led by a great head coach and Dan Quinn, who's actually the defensive coordinator last year at Dallas. I expect them to I expect them to get this win versus Dallas this week. One of the most underrated teams. Another AFC West battle. The Denver Broncos go against the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. The Broncos are a good football team. They have a very good defense. They have a very good young quarterback in Bo Nix, who not a lot of people are talking about, but they definitely should start talking about him. Bo Nix is going to lead this team into some pretty good wins and some pretty big wins in the near future, and you just watch. I think they go and get a win against the Raiders this weekend. The Raiders, they're tanking for Shador. I think we know what's about to happen there. And so I think this is a loss versus the Denver Broncos. Honestly, the Broncos probably will win at least, or will only win one or two more games, or lose one or two more games for the rest of the season. And so I expect this to be a big win for the Broncos. Going on to a playoff matchup, I think NFC Championship game last season, the 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers. The Packers got the win last week. 49ers fell short up in Seattle, or actually they might have been at home. But I think the 49ers go into Green Bay and they get the win. The 49ers always have Green Bay's number, and I think they continue to do this. I think after a rough win or a rough loss in your division, the 49ers need to start winning football games if they really want to make the playoffs. If they really want to, remind teams why they are a dominant team. And I think, the injuries were what they were, but you have to now, brush yourself off, get up, and go get some wins. And this needs to be a very crucial win if they want to, compete in the NFC. And I think they do. I think the Packers, to me, their defense is good at times. Their offense is a little inconsistent. Jordan Love looks a little young at times, and he just starts to do wild things. And so, other than that, I expect a win from the 49ers. Going against, another divisional matchup. The Arizona Cardinals play the Seattle Seahawks. I went against the Seahawks last week. I'm going to go against them again this week. I think the Cardinals will win this weekend. Their offense and their defense, mainly their offense, is absolutely rolling. Kyler Murray is playing out of his mind. That offense is playing out of their mind. Marvin Harrison is playing well. I mean, they have incorporated everything that they need to do on offense, and they're doing it really well. They look like the Rams from a couple years ago when they got Stafford the first year and they won the Super Bowl. That's how the Arizona Cardinals look. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year? Absolutely not. But I think this could be good. And I'm not going to be honest with y'all. I have not watched much of any Seattle Seahawks football this season. And so this might be why I'm being a little biased. But I think the Cardinals will win that game. Moving on to another big NFC matchup, you have the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Rams on, I think that's Sunday Night Football. When you look at this game, you see two teams who know what success is, and two teams has who have had recent success in the NFC and in the NFL. I think you have the Rams who are really trying to figure it out with Puka Nacua being back, with Cooper Kupp being back, with trying to get Kyron Williams back or get going. I mean, there's a lot of Stafford needs to get going as well. There's a lot of staleness on their offense, but there's potential there. Their defense is the one that they need to look out for because their defense has a lot of holes and liabilities. The Eagles, they are arguably one of the best teams in the league, arguably the best team in the NFC. Saquon has played out of his mind this year. Jalen Hurts, is still a good quarterback. But, can they continue to keep it going? Can they keep that level of consistency up? That's the biggest question mark. Their defense, though, has become a glue. I've enjoyed watching their defense come together this season, and I think it's going to be a win for the Philadelphia Eagles in L.A. Next up, you have the Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots. When you look at the Dolphins, they have now, 3 weeks ago, I would have said Patriots going to win this game just because the Patriots they wanted more. Drake May is playing great football, and they're trying to keep him going and that team going. But right now, I think Miami has a plan, has a task to get into the playoffs, and I think this is going to be it. I think this is going to be another one. It's going to make it 3 in a row for them to really get to the playoffs. Their offense is playing a lot better than they have all season long, with or without Tua, and so now they're trying to figure it out, and they're getting it going, and they are generally figuring it out. I think the Lions versus the Colts. This is going to be another show of strength from the Lions. The Lions last week showed why they are the best team in the NFL, winning 56 to 10 or something against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they keep that going. I think they get a big win this weekend. And I think they give the Colts a loss. I think the Colts, though, they have a very hungry Anthony Richardson after being benched a couple of weeks ago for a couple of weeks. I think he now adjusts and figures it out. I know he went and got that win last week. I don't think that's going to be good enough this week to get that win. This could be an upset game, though. That's one of the ones I can call out for an upset. The Titans versus the Texans. Texans went and got a win in Dallas last week. I think they get it going. The Titans are a very bad football team. They're going to definitely look for a quarterback in this year's draft because right now, the Will Levis, whoever they have at this number 2, is not good enough, and they're going to have to figure out what their identity is if they're going to blow up the team and get a rebuild going, which they probably should have. And instead of spending all that money on Calvin Ridley and trading for D-Hop, now D-Hop's already gone. So there's a lot that needs to happen with the Titans to get them back on track. But I get this win is going to be over in Houston. It's going to be a Texans win. So next up, you have a divisional game. You have the Vikings versus the Bears. The Bears need to fire their head coach. Their O-line is pretty bad. Their team as a whole looks like morale is down. They should have fired their head coach at the end of last season. The Vikings, though, their offense has looked a little bit better. They've gone a little complacent at times, but they've been trending back up in recent weeks. Hopefully, they can find their feet again because they're still 8-2, which is a great record, I think, or 8-2 or 9-2, something like that. But they only still 2 losses. So they're going to end up getting a win against the Bears. I think the Bears' season is pretty much done and dusted. They have a pretty rough second half of the season this year, and I think this will, again, be a loss. The Chiefs versus the Carolina Panthers. I think the Chiefs go get a big win here. The Panthers have been playing well coming off a bye week, but I still think the Chiefs are up there with top 3 teams in the league. And then for the Monday Night Football game, this was one for me hard to call. People are like, oh, I think the reason the Vikings or the Ravens won this game is because of their loss last week. I think if they won that game last week, then against the Steelers, and I think this game could have been a lot more winnable for the Chargers. But the Chargers, they are 7-2 right now, or 7-3, something like that, whatever their record is. They still have a lot. It's not going to be an easy game for the Ravens whatsoever. But I think the Chargers will hand the Ravens a loss. So let me know what y'all think about, the Ravens will hand the Chargers a loss. Let me know what y'all think about this week 12 slate. I think it's going to be a lot of fun games this weekend.